And now it's time for Reading is Magic. Today our book is The Tree Lady. It's a story about a woman in San Diego named Kate Sessions, who planted many, many trees in Balboa Park. If anyone's ever been to San Diego, you'll know exactly where I'm talking about. It's right in the center of the city. Here's a section of a tree. Interesting because trees have little circular rings. This tells how old the tree is. You can count the number of rings to see how old this tree might have been. Rings, R-I-N-G-S. Let's read. The Tree Lady. The Tree Lady, the true story of how one tree-loving woman changed a city forever. By H. Joseph Hopkins, illustrated by Jill McEmery. Catherine Olivia Sessions grew up in the woods of Northern California. She gathered leaves from oaks and elms. She collected needles from pines and redwoods, and she braided them together with flowers to make necklaces and bracelets. It was the 1860s, and girls from Kate's side of town weren't supposed to get their hands dirty. But Kate did. Kate listened well in school. She learned how to write and count. She remembered the poems and stories she read. But best of all, she liked studying wind and rain, muscles and bones, plants and trees, especially trees. Most girls were discouraged from studying science, but not Kate. These are little pieces of trees she collected. A quercus, which is an oak, ulmus, which is elm, and sequoia. Kate felt the trees were her friends. She loved the way they reached toward the sky and how their branches stretched wide to catch the light. Trees seemed to Kate like giant umbrellas that sheltered her and the animals, birds, and plants that lived in the forest. Not everyone feels at home in the woods, but Kate did. Here she's in a circle of redwoods, and when there's a circle, that usually means there was a mama tree that died, and these are all the babies, so they call it a redwood cathedral. It's a pretty magical place to be in a forest. They have those in Northern California. When Kate grew up, she left home to study science at college. She looked at soil and insects through a microscope. She learned how plants made food and how they drank water, and she studied trees from around the world. No woman had ever graduated from the University of California with a degree in science, but in 1881, Kate did. There she is. These are things she sees under her microscope. These are cells from a plant. After graduation, Kate took a job in Southern California. When her boat docked in San Diego, she saw that her new home was a desert town. Kate never thought she would live in a place with very few trees. But now she did. Kate began her job as a teacher. She was also the vice principal of the school, so she had to make sure that everyone followed the rules. Kate missed studying science and was not sure she would stay with the job, but for 2 years she did. From her school, Kate could see City Park in the hills above town. It was called a park, but it didn't look like one. It was where people grazed cattle and dumped garbage. Most San Diegans didn't think trees could ever grow there, but Kate did. This doesn't look like the San Diego I know. With Kate's love for the woods, she thought San Diego needed trees more than anything else. So she left teaching to become a gardener. She knew she must plant trees that could live in dry soil with lots and lots of sunshine. Her friends worried Kate wouldn't find trees like that, but she did. Kate became a tree hunter. She wrote letters to gardeners all over the world and asked them to send her seeds that could grow in a desert. She also traveled south into Mexico to look for trees that liked hot, dry weather and steep hills and canyons. Not everyone knows how to hunt for trees, but Kate did. Well, here's some of her trees. Let's see, we have yucca, eucalyptus, Aleppo pine, apollum, bristlecone pine, an Italian cypress, a jacaranda. This is one of my favorites. It's purple. It blooms purple. A quiver tree, Brazilian pepper, a palm tree, a naked coral tree, and a dragon tree. These are letters she wrote to people all over the world asking them about trees. Soon Kate's trees were planted along streets, around schools, and in small parks and plaza all over town. People bought trees from Kate's nursery and planted them in their yard. From elms to oaks to eucalyptus to palms, by the turn of the century, young trees from Kate's nursery were growing in every part of San Diego. Most people didn't think a desert town could sustain so many trees, but Kate did. See the palms? Then in 1909, the city leaders announced that a great fair called the Panama, California Exhibition was coming to San Diego in 1915. The fair would be held in City Park, which was now called Balboa Park. Kate felt Balboa Park still needed more trees, thousands more, to look beautiful and to shade the visitors that came to the fair. Trees, trees, and more trees. This is the 100th year anniversary of the San Diego exhibition, which was in 1915, 100 years ago, so we celebrated here in Balboa Park. That was too many trees for Kate to plant by herself, but she knew lots of people could do it together. She asked her friends to bring their friends and to come to the park for tree planting parties. Again and again, people volunteered to help. Those volunteers weren't sure they could plant enough trees, but before long, they did. And when the fair opened, San Diego was ready. Millions of trees and plants filled Balboa Park. The fair had so many visitors, it stayed open for 2 years instead of 1. People came from near and far to see the attractions and stroll in the cool shade. Fairgoers couldn't believe San Diego had such magnificent gardens, and thanks to Kate, it did. In the years after the fair, Kate was given many awards for her work, and people took to calling her the mother of Balboa Park. She continued gardening and planting trees until her death in 1940. Back then, few could have imagined that San Diego would become the lush, leafy city it is today. But all along, year after year, Kate Olivia Sessions did. She believed she had a dream. Let's see what's in our special bag today. Ah, another thing made from a tree. There's the rings. It has a scent of pine in it. So it's perfume, something that smells like something. Perfume, P-E-R-F-U-M-E. Have a great day. See you next time.